At this pivotal time of humanity's evolution, we are beginning to remember our organic technology. A technology, when used correctly, can create an experience that the majority of the people the world over want to live. It is time to use this technology consciously for our own benefit and healing, and no longer unconsciously for our own demise. We are multi-dimensional creators, creating both our own personal experience and our collective experience moment to moment. We invite you to join us as we reawaken this technology through experiment and experience our power to create and manifest.
Hello and welcome everybody to this week's Collective Imagination Show. We have Michael Monk back after another health crisis. You had a few of those of late, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, thanks. Glad to be back. Had a bit of bronchitis that I dealt with over the last week, but it's pretty much better now. So
Good, glad to hear it. Now, you've missed a pretty interesting week in my world. Anyway, we had an amazing show. We actually pre-recorded it on Sunday for the One People show this week. And the conversation of CERN has come up a lot between myself and Dee and Brian and others that we have on other shows and discussions that we've been having. And come Sunday, in a really roundabout way, I'm going to condense this for you. Through a series of events, stuff that came into my awareness, my really, really strong feeling around CERN was that it was an artificial technological attempt to reset the timeline and to reset the collective consciousness, retrap it basically into this timeline. There's a whole bigger conversation that we had around time itself. They're doing some seriously strange and dangerous things with this technology. And from what I gather, they're not getting the results they want. All of their public announcements are, it didn't work, something went wrong, everything from a bird flew over and dropped a breadcrumb on it to, this multi-billion-dollar facility. I also don't feel like it's the only one. Just like in, what was that movie with Jodie Foster in the chair? What was that movie called? You know what I mean? Contact. So publicly they built one, but privately they built a backup. I think I feel that we're dealing with more than one facility that's not being made public. But giving this thing a once over, somehow I just feel like we need to deal with it as a collective, basically. So I know I just asked you to have a look into CERN a few days ago. You want to tell me what you found?
Yeah, well, I'm not real that involved with external stuff, but so I didn't even know what CERN was. So I looked into it, and yeah, they've made the Hadron Collider, discovered Higgs boson particles, stuff like that. And from what I saw there recently, they constructed a device that messes with the Earth's magnetosphere, like causes extreme changes within it. And I believe it was over the last summer they tried to activate it, and there was a video that I watched that showed like real-time imaging of the Earth's magnetosphere, and it got altered by like a severe degree for a period of time. So I don't, who knows what they were really trying to do with that, but there's going to be effects from that, like major effects that could be positive or could be negative. I mean, anytime you're messing with magnetics like that, I mean, this world is an extension of our mind, and we are the magnetic sphere. I mean, that, even though most people aren't tapped into that, most people's reality only takes place within their body. That's just a conscious perception for everybody. Our the fullness of ourself extends through the whole thing. So if we're going to, alter our shield, so to speak, like if you view the earth like our orb, like our consciousness, it's sort of protected as a collective by having that magnetic force field. So if we like weaken that, we would become more susceptible to foreign intelligence, and that, could be for the better or for the worse. We could also tap into greater levels of energy, and once again, that could be for the better or for the worse.
Michael, can I just ask you, if they're measuring and seeing an effect in the Earth's magnetic sphere or shield, is it because our consciousness is being affected, which is what they're really seeing? How can I put this? Chicken or the egg, maybe. If you affect the consciousness field or the consciousness, the collective, is it going to be able to be read by looking at the magnetic sphere of the planet? Or do you mess with the magnetic sphere of the planet in order to mess with or interfere with the collective consciousness? Or does it go both ways?
It's hand in hand.
Hand in hand, yeah. So whichever way you do it, the other will be affected automatically. Okay, so sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's all right. So yeah, a lot of interesting things could happen from that. I tend myself to be a believer in the greater good, that from behind the scenes, even though within this reality we all have different agendas and stuff, some better, some worse. I'm a believer, and through my experience, I've seen that we are combined as one, as a greater intelligence behind the scenes and doing everything, no matter how harsh or how messed up it may seem, for the greater good of all things. So I tend to believe and go that direction. I do believe, or I do know also, that within the projection itself, we do have free will. So it's like, it's not like the singular intelligence, the oneness that we are, completely controls everything from behind the scenes, because if that was true, there'd be no free will. So we do have the ability to alter things here, and we can make things, temporarily worse. But if that does happen, there's an adjustment made and events played out to swing things back into balance. So I think it would be a good idea for us to connect to the CERN consciousness, which would be just everybody that's involved in that, and pull them closer to source intelligence, pull them closer into that core energy that we deal with when we connect as a soul group, and help harmonize them. So just whenever we do things like that, it just causes the ones that we're merging with to make choices that are more in alignment with the source consciousness. So I definitely think that would be a good idea, and we'll be able to tell, like, how messed up, how crooked, how corrupt it is when we connect to it, by how out of harmony with our source energy that it is. The more friction, the more tugging and pulling there is, the more we can know that it was out of alignment. But either way, we can help to harmonize that. You're on mute.
Of course, because I've got kids now running around outside making play noises and thinking it's funny to walk past me doing strange dances to make me laugh. So that's what I got going on in the background. Yeah, it just feels really, really timely to approach this right now. And we've got a caller apparently as well, so we take that straight up. Let's see. Caller, your mic is live.
Is that me?
That's you, Mark. I know that voice.
Oh, I was just trying to listen so I could hear it live. And I didn't mean to call in like that. I wasn't sure what to do, but
Oh, that's okay.
I just
Welcome.
want to listen. This is awesome. This is the best show going, and excellent meditative work with the group process. I'm loving this show so much. I'm glad you guys are doing it this week.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Mark. Was there anything else? Did you have any comments in regards to what we're going to do today?
Well, are we working on the same subjects? Because I'm hoping so. It seems to be working, and I want to utilize the time that you guys are here for helping with the overall collective focus of bringing out some of the things that I can see in development that could be really making things a lot nicer on the planet. There are a number of things that I've seen moving in these last weeks, and though I don't have the same perception that you do, Michael, I don't think I see it as happening at the same time as when you're doing these meditations with us together. But I don't really know if it's directly connected or not. It just seems like it could be, and I'm excited to know that your perception is that we have this ability to manifest forward and backwards in time. What we prefer and what we're creating is expressing itself forwards and backwards in time from each moment. So I'd like to continue that work, and I'm here for that.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah, we'll continue to reinforce everything we've done already, but we'll add this time CERN to the mix.
All right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You happy with that, Mark?
Yep, cool. Right. Yeah, awesome.
Okay, great. If there's anybody else in the chat room, there's a few of you in there today, which is lovely. Welcome, everybody. If you wanted to put in a comment now or a question or anything before we move into our meditation, because each week it gets longer and longer due to adding more and more things to it. So we tend to have to get to it earlier. And welcome, Mia. Welcome, Polly.
Oh, I could say a bit more. There was something that's really amazing that's developed. Is a good friend of mine is working with one of the secret society groups that we normally think of as being really stopping things, and he's saying that they're actually working to bring out technologies now that are the hidden technologies, and they're making a concerted effort to do that. If that's true, it's really good news, because they're looking at supporting inventors and people with the technologies that have previously been blocked, so that we have clean energy and environmental cleaning technologies coming out, as well as tree healing technologies, and not just technologies, but techniques and substances that help people actually heal their bodies, heal their DNA, and live longer. And that's only really recent. I find it hard to believe, but he sounds very convincing. And they, I won't say who it is or which group, but it's sort of hard to believe from the stuff that we've researched, and yet it could be actually just changing. He said that there's still factions that don't want to do that, but they're the majority that have decided to go ahead and bring these technologies out, and including and like levitating craft and that sort of thing. It's quite exciting.
I know a lot of people would have missed yesterday's On People show because it was pre-recorded, and then due to daylight savings time changes and network schedule, it was broadcast an hour earlier and all sorts of things. So it would have been missed going out when it was broadcast, but the recording's not available yet. But the conversation that we had was amazing. It was really extraordinary, and it was a lot of fun. We had Sasha and Mel V on, and Brian, Dee, and myself. Wild conversation. We went over again for the 2.5 hour show, and what I've been feeling, which I briefly mentioned to Michael before we went live, was everyone that I'm in contact with, whether it's online or off, has been expressing a lot of very similar things, which is a feeling of being rushed and anxious, even panicked, and anything matrix related, bureaucracy and red tape, whether it's financial and anything to do with that, banking, taxation, accountants, whatever. People dealing, and I'm not the only one, but people dealing with passports and visas and just it's closing in. And when I hear things like what you're saying, Mark, it's kind of an expression. You're putting into words what I've been feeling. It's like we're really getting to the pointy end of the stick with what feels like the panic of one side of the coin in their attempts to make things or maintain things in a status quo, and the collective, or in Lily's terms, the planetary timeline or whatever. It just feels like they're really banging up against each other right now. Stronger and harder than I've felt in a long time. And it's been a really, really emotional few weeks for a lot of people. It's been what I've been getting from, and not just myself. I mean, I've had the most emotional couple of weeks I've had in years. A lot of crying, a lot of, and I mean crying like from the very core of you, where you just can't stop, and it's just, convulsive almost, that kind of crying. And it's felt like a mixture of things. Some of it's been mine, a lot of what I've been through over the last couple of years that I have held together and stayed strong and not broken down. It was like all of that just came crashing in, feeling like I was tapping into the collective, and how the collective was being buffeted around, and then also feeling the collective of them and their panic. They're trying desperately to pull something off right now, is what I feel, and they're in a state of panic, and that panic is coming up against the collective consciousness, and it's bouncing us around a little bit. But I don't think that the panic is ours. It doesn't feel like ours. Does any of that make sense?
I've felt a decent amount of that too over the past couple of weeks. Just out of nowhere, I'll get fear, anxiety, worry, like those types of vibrations through my body for no reason. Like,
Yep.
I'm in control of my thoughts, so I only think when I want to. So here I am in a meditative state, not thinking, and next thing you know, just so that's interesting.
And it's been when you're feeling like you're getting bombarded by all three, your own, the collectives, theirs. It's just, it's been harrowing. And I'm just noticing the same things. That people who are saying to me, I've got to go and, a girlfriend of mine, I've got to go to my accountant, and then I've got to go, which is driving me crazy. And she's dealing with the tax department, and then she's got to go and see her father, because her father, who doesn't suffer from anxiety, is having a panic attack. And then somebody else says to me, I've only spoken to 4 people today, and they're all depressed and anxious. And it's over and over and over again. And this has been going on for a couple of weeks. So it's as if that matrix noose is just being tightened around everybody's necks right now, and we're getting pulled back into it as a huge distraction to pull us out of our center. And all of the geopolitical stuff we're seeing on the, it just all feels like a big distraction. We've got CERN doing its thing over here, which like I said, I think it's an attempt to reset the collective consciousness, to reset the timeline. And while that's going on, you've got all of these crazy frigging things going on a geopolitical level, from world leaders just making the most outrageous decisions and incredible statements, and accusations at each other. It's just nuts. So everyone's attention's over there, and I think it's all just a big distraction so that we get pulled out. And meantime, the matrix noose is getting pulled tighter, and we're all pulled out of center. So I want this show today to really be about bringing us back into that too, bringing us back into that place, our own center, our own power. And this feeling of anxiety and panic and rushed, like I've got a million things to do. Yeah, the panic.
We'll heal that.
The dread.
We'll get everybody back into the crystalline consciousness, into the center, into the core, into that blissful radiance. If we're keep ourselves close to core like that, then we really don't have to worry about, things like that. I have heard through watchers, like people that really specialize in viewing through time and stuff, that resets have happened 2 times already, and I've been assured that it won't be allowed to happen again. But even if something like that,
have you got a timeline on that?
What's that? Timeline?
Have you got a timeline on when these resets happened?
Around this time period, like between 2012 and 2017.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and once again, that's like a point of view, because don't ever forget the 5th dimensional perception, all time happening simultaneously. So you can view something like that, and what it really could be is that there's 2 parallel timelines where that happened, but not necessarily this one. So timeline reset, reincarnation, even reincarnation, that is a point of view. That's a 4th and 3rd dimensional point of view, not a 5th dimensional point of view. 5th dimensional point of view is being compressed in the now moment, one with source, knowing that you're not in space and time, but that you are space and you are time, and that you are the source of both of those. So past and future spring from you. And that's the state of consciousness that I do my best to stay in on a constant basis. And from there, you can expand your consciousness. And when you go out into your own sphere, that's where you'll find your so-called past lives. They're there happening simultaneously in the lighter energy that's around you. So from 5th dimensional perspective, a timeline reset or a reincarnation is just a point of view, not a fact.
Okay, this is something that I shared on the One People show too. That I had an extraordinary day on Sunday personally, and that had a lot of pennies dropping. And part of what I came to that felt really right was linear time, this concept of linear time that we have, and the history that we're told about the planet and human civilization. Nothing but a story. And that time, the story of time, the story of our history, is something that probably gets rewritten and I feel like at the moment, as crazy as this sounds, every couple of 100 years. And I was talking about the Fibonacci sequence, because on Sunday morning when I woke up, it was the first thing in my mind, and it just kept popping into my head, was the Fibonacci sequence. And that what we're doing is actually from the outside in. coming into the point in the center, and that these time cycles get shorter and shorter and shorter with every reset, with every rewriting. And that it's been time to reset it for some time, and they haven't been able to. Maybe 2012, maybe December 2012 was the time to try and reset it again. And it didn't work. What we're told about all the ancient civilizations that are under the water all over the world and on top of the land, and the story that we're given and the meanings that we're given for them, they're just stories. And we're told that we have this history, this long, long human history of war, of empire, of conquest, because it instills in us this idea that it's part of human nature. It's okay. Let's just do a what if and say if the last time our collective memories were reset and we were given a new story for our history was only in the 1800s. It's a lot easier to get people to go to war on a global scale in World War I if they believe that it's what we've always done. It goes back thousands and thousands of years. That's what we do. That's what humans do. You'd have a hard time selling them on the idea as a first go round, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah.
I can't say I've come to any concrete knowing on any of this. It's still evolving, but there's something to me that it's one of those. It just pinged, and it's continuing to evolve. But there's something I really do feel in the whole idea that we are the collective memory and the collective consciousness gets wiped and reset, and a whole new storyline inserted, and it happens on a regular basis.
Yes.
Looks like we have a caller, Lisa.
No, I think that was Biggie. Did you say yes?
I don't know. Did I say yes?
Oh, hang on. No, who's that?
I think it's our
I'm
caller.
sorry. I thought. Oh, am I being heard?
Yes, you're being heard. Who have we got here?
Well, it's a crazy individual over in Texas, don't you know?
Can we have a name?
Highly. Yes, Thomas. You know who I am. You've interviewed me before.
Hey, Thomas. How are you, darling?
No way, Thomas. Awesome.
Yes,
Cool.
I thought I'd call in and just harass you guys for a moment.
It's a
and give you
Sasquatch guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
I just give you my own personal experiences for the last couple of weeks.
Please do.
I was taken away by the police and put in an insane asylum. Every person in there was a crazy patient, was more sane than any of the hospital staff, who was stone cold F nuts, okay? And I said F because I didn't want to put the rest of the word with it, okay? Anyway, so the day that I was leaving, 5 minutes before I left, the guy that they first partnered me up with in his room, the half catatonic man, I rolled up to him in the wheelchair and I said, Mr. Peters, I'm leaving in 5 minutes. I'm going home. If there's anything you want to say to me, now'd be the time. And he could not speak. I mean, he'd mumble and stuff, but he just was so incoherent that he couldn't get any, and he kept trying to talk to me. He'd come in my room, and harass me a little bit, just walk around, lost and stuff. And so he looked at me when I said that to him, and he said in perfectly understandable English, he bent down, leaned over towards me a little bit, and he said, I didn't know that anyone was doing this kind of work. I thought I was the only one. But then I saw you, and I knew that I wasn't forgotten. thank you. And he took my hand, and a tear spilled out of his eye. And I couldn't do anything but cry at that moment. I mean, there were so many people in there that are being, like the one guy, the Vietnam vet. He's in there because he's afraid he can't control his reaction to kill people. You know? And I said, well, what kind of experience or training do you have that would make you that scared of killing someone? He said, 25 years in the Marine Corps and 3 tours in Vietnam. That'll do it. And he's on the chemical cocktail they have him on is, get ready for this, Prozac and Ritalin at the same time. So I was in there for 3 days, and I had to give them all a refresher course from the 80s that no really means no. 2 letters and an O, and it means no. They tried to give me Prozac, and I wouldn't take it. No way.
Why did they try and get you in the first place?
Well, because the woman that pays the person that lives here to fill my coffee cup and bring me food once in a while, she called the police and told them that I was homicidal because I had a altercation outside with the mother. And I told her, I gave her fair warning, like all of us do. I told her, get out of the way or I'll run you over. I mean, that's fair warning. But she calls the police instead and tells them I'm homicidal. Then she proceeds to get a judge in the county next to this one to issue a medical hold warrant so that they can basically arrest me for 72 hours without actually arresting me. And that's how my adventure began.
You are permanently in a wheelchair at the moment, aren't you?
Well, I make it to the bathroom and back, thankfully. But yeah, if I want to go any further than 20 feet away, yeah, I have to get to my wheelchair and fire it up and use that electric motor to go hauling it down the street or whatever. Then,
so the Matrix came smack and bang into your house as well, huh?
Yes, and so then I talked to 3 people in the last couple of days that have all said the same thing to me. I'm sure I'm having to trim my fingernails a lot. I said, about once a week, every week and a half, instead of like once a month. Yeah. So people are noticing their fingernails are growing faster. How interesting. So are mine.
What does that mean?
Well, obviously time is going faster because our fingernails are growing faster.
Oh, I see.
Right. The time construct is moving. It's moving. We're finishing it up. Everything's rolling and rolling and rolling. And so we got, more than 40 active volcanoes around the world. We got a sun that's going nuts with CMEs and solar flares and everything else. And you guys are having a show about it. I just had to call in and cause mayhem and chaos. My job is done.
I've missed you.
It's awesome to hear you, Tom. It's awesome.
Oh, you're good. You're so good.
Well, a little craziness is advisable at times, and who better to be crazy than me?
Yeah. You do it so well.
I have to tell you,
nobody does Thomas like Thomas.
I have to tell you, I thought I could see the smoke coming out of the psychiatrist's ears the first day I was there, and he looked at me and he said, Mr. Hughes, do you consider yourself insane? I said, absolutely. He said, can you clarify that statement for me? And I said, well, certainly. If knowledge systems and religions around the world have any merit to them, they all say basically the same thing, that the truest journey is within. So naturally, that being the case, I keep my sanity inside myself. So absolutely, I'm insane.
I like that.
And I could hear his head saying, how am I going to unravel that thread?
It's totally awesome.
Good luck.
Staying inside. It's cool.
That's right. Why not?
Seeing as I would be remiss if I didn't ask you. The audience would shoot me. Contact with your friends, the big hairy folk.
Oh, yes.
What are they up to?
Mainly the ones that are walking in and out of this reality now are the kids, because the adults are all very, very busy over there And when I asked them, I said, what specifically are you doing? They show me a tug-of-war rope each time, and all the great big men and the women are getting on that tug-of-war rope, and when it's time, they're all going to pull at the same time and jerk us clean out of here. That's what they're showing me. So I don't know exactly what that means. But they're
Hang
busy
on,
over there, whatever they do.
Can you repeat that?
Sure. What they show me, when I ask them, is that all of them are holding a really big rope. They're all holding a bit, and they're ready to pull. When the go signal is given, they're going to pull as hard as they can and just jerk us clean out of here. That's what they're showing me, and I don't know everything it involves or what exactly it means, but it's kind of what's happening right now.
You know, where I am right now is in southeast Queensland, where there's literally the house that I'm in. There's a nature causeway right behind it. It's quite bush here, and the Dullagar, as they're called here, frequent the area, and I've had to rub my scent on a banana and leave it as a gift. Their presence up here is really strong, and you do hear noises, you do hear stuff going on out there that's not quite a wallaby or a kangaroo.
There's a little giveaway, huh?
Yeah, and trees ripped out by the roots and left in nice geometric patterns. There's a woman who frequents here who was literally brought up by them. So she's got lots of stories to tell, and it's pretty amazing what's going on. But what do you think? What do you think by pulling us out of here means?
Oh well, I'm gonna stick with the kids on this one. The Mary Rodwell kids, fellow countrymen of yours, and there's been 4 different kids that have all said the same thing. Now the 4th one is here in Texas, of all places. Go figure. They're all saying the same thing. They've drawn pictures of the Earth and planets around it or stars around it, and their parents have all said the same thing and received the same answer. Those are not the names of those stars, and we don't call them that. Earth is in another place, in another galaxy.
Right.
So everything's warming up and getting ready to go, and the Earth's not going to be in this galaxy anymore when this goes off, and nobody's going to even know it. I would dare say that we're going to wake up one morning and say, wow, that was a really bad dream. I'm not doing that much acid at a New Year's Eve party ever again.
And for those who didn't take acid on New Year's,
don't drink that much beer and drive.
What? So what you're saying? We'd look up in the sky and the arrangement of stars would be different?
Yes, and our memories would be different. We would remember all of this as kind of a really bad digestion dream or something of that nature, and things would seem normal. We'd get up and go do our normal average daily things, which does not include a job or getting a paycheck or anything to do with money. And I'm sorry if that disappoints people. You may be getting on the wrong bus, so make sure you take the right off-ramp when we hit that part of the freeway. Just saying.
What do you think about that, Michael?
Anything's possible. Who knows?
I'd love to wake up and feel like, well, this was just a bad dream.
Yeah, I mean, I know that from parallel experiences, when I wake up in a parallel dimension, an alternate life that I'm living, you do have different sequences that you're in that life, and when you're there, it seems normal, and when you're able to bridge the gap and achieve lucidity, you have like some of your ego memories, but not all of them. So if we were able to do that, then it would be similar as Thomas is describing.
Well, they've shown me part of the stage, the theatrical drama that's about to occur. What we're going to do, essentially, what they've shown me, is we're going to go back to the point in time where our life slipped off the tracks, and we're going to pick it up from there and go forward. So that when we reach 2012, I won't be on somebody's show over in Australia talking about what do we think is going to happen on December 21st, because we're just going to get high and have fun. You know, and the next morning we'll walk outside and the sky will be full of spaceships, 8,000 or more, and just in your area alone. And we're going to have a blast. And the stage that they've shown me is that we're going back in time, those of us that are doing that, we're going back to a reality where Tesla never died, World War I and World War II never, ever, ever, ever happened. Computers like we have right now broke wide and came out in the 1940s. That was our innovation in the 40s. Instead of World War II, we came out with computers like this. So by the time we reach close to the year 2000, we can be in a car and we don't have to even put a seatbelt on because it has dampening fields inside the car. So if we impact with something, it holds us in place and we don't get hurt at all. The only reason that the doctor exists in the reality that we're going to is so that you can get facial cream once in a while because your cheek muscles are cramping so bad because you've been laughing all day. Got some of that cream, doctor? My cheeks are so sore. Now, that would be a perfect world to live in. I don't care who it is. I mean, I never get tired of smiling. Does anybody else get tired of smiling? I don't.
Not really.
I'm going to shut up now.
No. I've missed it the last couple of weeks, actually. Okay. I think we need to get on to our meditation or we're going to run out of time again. Mark and,
yep, I'm gonna,
Tom, stay with us, please. But just mute. And please join us for this. And it's lovely to hear your voice again, Thomas.
Oh, I'm glad I could be here.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
Me too. All right, Michael, so we're going to recap on what we've done already, which is financial and media.
Mm-hmm.
We'll add CERN to the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And then go back to reinforcing our own manifestations and personal.
Make sure you do the banking stuff and the monetary system stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to do financial and media
and
CERN.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't hear you say the financial stuff.
Yep. Don't worry, Mark. It's all happening. All right, I will turn my...
And pixies and fluffy bunnies. What was that?
Yes, and rainbow farting unicorns. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to turn everything off and I'll see you on the other side.
Okay. Okay, everybody, get comfortable in your chair. You want your feet to be about shoulder width apart and flat on the floor. And you want your hands just resting comfortably in your lap. If you have crystals near you, feel free to hold them. It's good to have two of the same type, one in each hand, to help balance the hemispheres of energy. They're not by any means a necessity, though, so if you're not using crystals, don't worry about that. What we're going to be doing is connecting through the source. We're going to be connecting in oneness, in the place of simultaneous consciousness where we're all one. And as a group, we're going to go there. The way it works, the way we're able to connect like this, and to have such a large degree of power and love when we do so, is because of how reality is formed. Space and time, I'm sure you've heard, is an illusion. I prefer the term mental construct. It's a mental construct because it is real. You know, it's a reality. Things are formed in this way, and it's beautiful, and it's a great thing. So I don't like the word illusion because it's definitely real, but it is indeed a mental construct. What it is, space and time, is an interpretation of variance in vibration. So this whole reality, like the energy that fuels all reality systems, is source energy. It's like a standing wave of vibration that contains the summary of all frequencies, all in a singular point. What we are doing within that construct through our bodies, through the brain in particular, is it's set up, it's geared to decode little variances in vibration and then paint a picture of reality to our consciousness. So a slight difference in variation, and I mean very minute, tells Lisa that she's in Queensland, Australia, and tells me that I'm in Florida in the United States. But the pure metaphysical truth is that we are right on top of each other. And same thing with all of you guys. Everybody listening to this show, including if you're listening to the archives in the future, is just experiencing a slightly different variance in vibration than what we are, and so your brain is painting a space-time construct for your consciousness to experience: the room around you, the chair that you're sitting in, the air that you're breathing. But spatially speaking, metaphysically, we are all right on top of each other. My body is one, or inside of your body. The air that I'm breathing is overlapped with the air that you're breathing. So I've been doing energy work for a very long time. It's pretty much my life's work and my passion. If you want to check that out, the demonstrations that I have a whole energy school online at avatarenergymaster.com or avatarenergymastery.com. But due to how much I've practiced this, I can access source consciousness like right away. And then I have the ability, because of the amount of magnetism that I've developed by doing rigorous energy training, to connect with others no matter where they're at in the space-time construct, and through heart magnetism sort of glue us all together into a singular unit so that we can all share energies, build it up, experience source intelligence, source love, as well as a vast increase in our own power. It's like each one of us holds a spark of the source, or you could view it like a little flame. And each one of these flames that comes together, that overlaps, that joins as one, causes the fire to be shared. And it's a much greater, bigger, and brighter for each one that joins into the group soul construct. Now, the great glory in this is that each individual that connects in group consciousness has the entire energy, the summary of the entire group energy becomes available for you to use for anything that you need in your own personal life. So not only are we connecting to collectives within humanity to help make the world a better place, but at the end of each one of these meditations, we do a period while we're still holding the energy where you guys can use the group energy for anything you need. Healing, a new job, a change in your love life, whatever it is. And feel free to be selfish with it. You need to be happy. I'm sure everybody listening to this show is into serving humanity. Well, if you're not happy, if you don't enjoy your life, I can guarantee you're not very useful as a servant. So feel free to be a little bit selfish while you serve. It's important for the self to be fulfilled, to be happy. Okay, so what I want everybody to do first, now with the hands once again rested in the lap, just the important thing is not to cross them over. So you don't want to cause an energy circuit. You want to be open. That's why the feet are planted firmly on the floor, shoulder width apart, and the hands in the lap. I want everybody to really straighten their back, because the most common blockage in the human body is in the solar plexus, and that's due to the alignment of the spine. Because we sit in cars, because we sit in chairs, because we're hunched over computers, our spine tends to be folded over right there at the solar plexus point. So I want everybody to show my camera better. Press your shoulders way back, strut, like stick your chest way out, almost like in a military type posture, and really get that part of your spine that's by your solar plexus straightened out, so you have a nice clean rod of energy, so that spine is the major circuit, and it's got to be nice and straight. Go ahead and close your eyes. And the first thing we're going to do is access a heart-based consciousness. We're going to drop out of the ego and into a heart-based consciousness, which is sensational and emotional based. So you're not going to be thinking. You're going to be focusing entirely on what you feel in terms of sensations like vibration, heat, cold, magnetic fluctuation, and emotions. You're not going to pay any attention to any word-based thought. It's going to, the more you can pull out of word-based thought and into emotions and sensations, what you are feeling, the closer you're going to get to source energy within this group consciousness. Because what you are feeling is now based. That is now moment. When you think it's based in past and future, which is further away from source. So go ahead and close your eyes. Make sure once again that your spine is nice and straight. Roll those shoulders back. And now to access the heart-based consciousness, we're going to change our normal point of focal awareness. So once again, your eyes are closed. I want you to feel within your headspace. Everybody can feel within their headspace, like you can feel your eyeballs, you can maybe feel a little bit of energy within your head, depending on what level of development you're at. But either way, you can feel your head. So that's obvious proof that your consciousness is present there. You can also feel your chest. So that's obvious proof that your consciousness is present in both of those places. To become heart focused, you simply take the presence that you have in your head, what you feel in your own internal headspace, and drop it down into the chest. So you literally take what you feel in your head and drop it down into the chest. You can use a visualization if you want, and the one I recommend would be that your chest is like a warm frying pan and that your head is butter and melting down into it. You'll know when you got it because you're instantly going to find me there, because it's through the heart that we're all one. The same force that beats my heart is the same force that beats yours. I'm feeling quite a few of you, so I know a lot of you made it. And if you haven't made it there yet into the group energy, don't worry, you're going to obtain it with a few more applied techniques, which I'll get into. So keep dropping that presence that's in your head down into your chest. Now, as you begin to get accelerated sensations like the magnetic fluctuations, changes in temperature, vibration, and whatnot, hold on to them. Maintain memory of them. Focus on them, and they'll get stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay, now we're going to do a series of breaths to draw us even closer into the source center within the high heart, within the chest. And I want you to imagine that your breath is more than just your lungs, that your breath encompasses the whole room, and that with each in-breath, you're actually going to contract your consciousness deep within yourself and pull all external energies and make them internal. So through the mechanism of the breath, view it like a metaphysical muscle that fills the entire room. And with each in-breath, we're going to pull both our presence, our external presence, and our external energies, and cause them to be internal presence and internal energies. And on the out-breath, you're not going to put any emphasis. So you're going to use consciousness and imagination on the in-breath. On the out-breath, you're just going to exhale air while holding the amount of energy that we've gained. So go ahead and exhale all the way now. Now inhale from 360 degrees, pulling the energy in tight, tight, tight. Anything that you feel external, you internalize it and hold it. Now exhale with no emphasis, holding everything we've gained, and start the inhale again. Exhale, no emphasis. Inhale, 360 degrees, pulling it all in. Exhale, no emphasis. And one more inhale. Now we're just going to hold this group energy for a little bit, and I'm going to begin to accelerate. I'm going to turn up the speed of the vibration. Okay, now to make my presence within this group energy easier known and to pull more people that haven't yet obtained it, or maybe you're getting slight sensations, but your ego is having a hard time confirming whether or not you're connected, I'm going to begin to do a series of movements. Now, remember what I said about the oneness, about how it really works. Your body is literally right on top of my body. So when we're connected in group energy, if I move to the left or to the right or forwards and backwards, you can literally feel me moving through you, almost like I'm a ghost or a spirit of energy that's inside of you. And I'm not, I'm a physical presence, you know, I'm human just like you, but within yourself, you are the center, and it's all based on focus, on experience. So you have a physical presence of your own self because you're going to be more aware of yourself than you are me, because you are you and not me. I'm me, but we are one. So that's why when you feel me, you'll be able to feel my presence, but it won't be as physical or as solid as yours. But I'm going to begin to move to the left and to the right now. And you'll feel me brushing through you. You'll feel like a slight friction as my form through the oneness passes through yours. And when you feel that, allow yourself to do empathy with it, and I will pull you through my own magnetism closer to source and closer into the group energy. Okay, good. Now I'm going to go back and forth instead of left and right. Now I'm going to move around in circles. Okay. From that, I felt the group energy increase by about triple, so that helped a lot of people connect in. Now I'm going to let go of my individualized presence and remerge completely into the group energy and just hold us all together as one. What I'm going to do is establish us as a very solid, very pure presence. We're going to be using feminine energy or yin energy. It is a cooling energy, and it is a stabilizing energy. Whenever you're using masculine or the force of heat or fire, that's causing particles to bang and to collide against each other. And although it can be powerful and used for some constructive things, it's not a harmonizing energy where the feminine is. That's a force that causes particles to be closer together, to not collide or to bang against each other, but to reach a type of stillness. And it has a light to it. In the physical reality, we associate light with heat. Light speeds up particles. Well, you're going to see that feminine or yin energy also has a light, a color, a hue. It shines a light, but it cools things down instead of heating things up. So everybody just stay in the group energy, and I'm going to start to do a series of full body breathing where I pretty much visualize myself doing frost breathing, almost like I'm a white dragon that breathes cones of frost through our entire system. And I'm also going to use my quartz crystals as a psychological symbol to help cool us all off and get us in that blissful yin energy. feels so good. Okay. Now I want everybody to join with me to amplify this effect. I want you to visualize blue and white light shining from within your center and going outwards, a freezing, like nice, solid, frozen white light, like crystalline structure, almost like your entire body is frozen within a huge block of blue and white ice. Good. I feel a lot of you guys, and you're nailing it. And it feels awesome, don't it? Cooling energy or cold only feels cold to the physical body. To the soul, it feels like heaven. It feels like home. Allow the energies to fully solidify around you. When you do it right, it literally feels like you are frozen, immobile, in a block of radiant ice that you are. It's not foreign from you. It's like super high vibration energy, so fast vibration that it appears to be solid, like you're just encased in it. Okay, from this place, if you've been with the show for a while, I want you to be willing to renew your vows of purity. If you're new to the show, I want you to be willing to take them. And what it is we're trying to change the world to make it a better place, to connect into various parts of the human collective, and to cause them to be more transparent, more honest, and more loving. Well, it's impossible to enact a change unless you are the change that you want to see enacted. Reality comes from the inside out. So if you want to be a part of this, if you want to help things get better, then your contribution is basically useless unless you yourself are willing to be what it is you wish to experience. So you need to be willing to be transparent in all of your endeavors, willing to be honest in all situations, including white lies of convenience. You know, those little harmless lies that we tell, out of sheer convenience to avoid certain things. Well, just be willing to drop that, because when you begin working on your own purity, when you begin working on your own manifestation, whenever you speak or think contrary to your own truth, you're damaging your own truth centers. You're literally breaking down the crystalline blocks in your own Blu-ray energy. So it's not good for you, in any way, shape, or form. And we all stray from it from time to time. So if you've made this vow and you ended up telling a white lie or two, or maybe even a serious lie, so what? Forgive yourself. It doesn't do any good to put a permanent stain on yourself. We're only supposed to feel, we have guilt for a reason, so that we can feel it, so that we can sense that we don't like that emotion, so that we can make a mental correction and a dedication to do better next time, and that's it. So forgive yourself and move on, and recommit to doing as best as you can this week. And not only about being honest and being pure, but trying to be, as loving, as compassionate, as understanding as possible in all situations. Understanding that if you want to experience that type of reception, that type of energy from other people, well, you have to be outputting that yourself. So, there's selfish reasons to be a loving, compassionate being, as well as unselfish reasons. Really, once you obtain unity consciousness, once you understand and experience that we are all one, selfishness becomes the same exact thing as serving the whole, because you are the whole. Each one of us is. So once you understand that the whole, that your sense of self encompasses others, then that type of dualistic philosophy, you no longer really need to pick a side. It's very important to be good to yourself, and it's very important to be good to others. Okay. I'm going to amplify the group energy a little bit more. Pull us all in tighter. It's going to feel like you're being hugged from 360 degrees. Just allow it to squeeze you and allow it to contract you in further, because we're going to establish a very powerful, very cemented, very grounded, solid, unbreakable crystal core before we go out and connect to the collective. And what we do, if you're new to these meditations, is we use psychological symbology to connect to portions of the human collective, and we use a love magnetism. We use love as a force to pull parts of that collective into the crystalline energy, the cooling energy that we've established, and they will be out of tune with us. They'll be out of sync. They'll be variant because they aren't operating in that type of essence. And what we do once we've drawn them in is we hold them. We hug them metaphysically, magnetically from 360 degrees, and we don't allow them to escape. It's like a bear hug of love until that part of the consciousness that we've drawn in conforms to our pattern and even forgets where it was at before. So it's using love as a force. We're not asking. It's we're using love as a force. Like I said, it's gravity. It's the very force that binds things together. That's the essence of love. So I want to connect to CERN first while we're fresh, because I also want us to all get a good read on it now. How it feels, how much variant it is to what we feel now will be a good indicator to us of how much corruption it's operating within. And either way, by us connecting to this and even in our understanding that reality comes from the inside out and that we're each contributing to this, we're all going to be healing, harmonizing, or changing the CERN within us, that's within us, as well as the externalized collective portion. So it's going to change things. It's going to just tend to make it more harmonious. And the individuals within the collective that are involved with that will feel in various degrees the changes within themselves, which are the changes we're making within ourselves, and then drawing that part of the collective in. So I'm going to tighten the group energy with one more hug. Big old cooling blast of blue-white light. Okay, now I'm going to open a hole in our group energy, and I want everybody to use love, magnetism, as well as the in-breath, and pull CERN in. It can be any psychological symbology that you associate with it. It can be names of employees that work there. It can just be the name CERN. It can be logos, graphics, images, website, anything that you psychologically symbolize. Connect now and pull it in. Pull, 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 pull. Keep pulling. Okay, I'm going to seal it. Whew. I don't know about you guys, but I broke out in sweat like immediately. And I feel a lot of banging and collision and movement, but just keep holding it. Keep shining that blue-white cooling light. Keep using the in-breath to do like that group hug where we just keep loving and holding. Keep opening up wider and wider to increase your inward gravity until our love becomes like a crushing force. Keep holding. lot better now, but we gotta completely still it out before we move on. Almost there. Okay. Good job on that, everybody. And now we're just going to rest in the group energy for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then we're going to open another hole and draw in the media portion of the human collective. Okay, so once again with the media, you can just use any psychological symbology that connects it to you. Names of news anchormen, logos of major news stations, names of puppet masters that you know are behind the media. Anything that your consciousness associates with media will serve as a symbol once we open up to draw that in. Use the power of the in-breath, the force of love, the force of gravity, almost like a black hole, like an energy that draws everything in from 360 degrees. That's how we're going to pull the media into our collective crystalline energy. So I'm going to open this up now. Begin pulling. Okay, sealing it off. And let's just hold and harmonize what we got. We did really good on this one. Like our crystalline energy is so strong right now that it gets conforming very fast. And it probably helps that we're more used to connecting to this portion of the collective, but either way, it's almost pure already. It feels really good. Let's just spend a few more seconds to just make sure we got it all. All right, good job, everybody. Give it about 5-10 seconds. Let's reestablish. Let's do like a group soul hug. Pull it all in nice and tight. Okay. Now we're going to open up and we're going to pull in financial collective. And once again, psychological symbology. You know the drill. Anything that your psyche associates with money and financial institutions and financial key players, tap it, use the symbology, use the in-breath, use the gravity, use the force of love, and pull it in. Opening us up now. Connect and pull. Pull hard. Okay, sealing it off. Just hold it. Remember to keep visualizing the blue and white light being locked in that frozen, radiant block of ice. Blue and white, frozen ice light. It's like light that's made out of ice. Good. That's so solid. Good. Almost there. All right, boom. Okay, now let's do a nice big group soul hug. It's like a hug from 360 degrees, like a magnetic hug from all sides. Feel each other within this group energy and just send love to each other. Let's all hold each other really close. Good, good. That's impressive. Nice. Okay, now from here, that is a nice place. Like, I'm really impressed. Okay. From here, guys, go ahead and use this energy for your own stuff, for things that you need in your own personal life. You can use psychological symbology in the same way that I showed for the things you need. Everything that you need has a feeling associated with it. As you shuffle through your own psychology, your psychological symbology, place the feeling of what it is you need in your high heart, right in the center of that block of radiant, cooling source energy. And that's all you have to do. The longer you can hold the feeling, the more it's going to manifest. The longer you can hold it in center, So if you don't have an intimate partner in your life, if you want a new love, well, that has a feeling. That desire has a feeling. So tap into it using psychological symbology to feel that feeling and then embed it deep within yourself. If you've got a sickness or an illness and you want it to get better, well, that has a feeling. So tap into it by imagining yourself being healed and feel that emotion and stick that emotion right behind your breastplate, right in the center of our core, of our crystalline heart. For whatever it is you want, if you want an advancement in your metaphysical abilities, if you want a knowledge download, if you want out of body experiences, no matter what. So I'm just going to go quiet for a few minutes and I'm going to keep holding and amplifying the group energy while you guys use it for the things you need. Okay, now let's, as a group, do one more group hug so that each one of us as an individual can add to everybody's intentions. Like, let's us as a group support everybody's individual requests for what they need. Pull it in, pull it tight, make it blissful, make it radiant. And release. Okay, everybody can come out of it at their own speed. That was really good, everybody. I felt, you know, I'm very attuned. Like, the amount of density that we tapped into was astonishing. So, good job, everybody. Give us some feedback in the chat room if you would.
Michael, can you hear me?
Yes.
That one was quite different for me, very unusual. I felt like I was not so much inside the group as I was outside and observing the response. And maybe those of you who've been feeling what I was expressing earlier, you know, that panic and anxiety and rushed feeling, could give me some feedback on this. That built to the point where I thought I was going to explode.
Wow.
Like, sit here and have a major panic attack.
May I add 2 pennies to this? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, go on. No, do it now.
All I was going to say is that blue-white light that he gave us an image of, I kept that whirling like a high-speed, out-of-control tornado to batter and bash any darkness away from us while we did that.
Nice.
This is, it still hasn't calmed down, mind you. No, it has calmed down, but it's not gone.
Did you get a rush off that?
Yeah, Lisa, I was feeling and observing the response too, says Deborah. When CERN came into us, I felt intense energy bouncing around in my body like a bowling ball. Yeah. It started with feeling rushed again, like hurried, and that just built and built and built and built until it would definitely qualify as anxiety, and then it definitely qualified as panic. And it just continued to build. Then it wasn't until we actually were done with the financial, done with the media, done with CERN, and started to come in and to add it to for our own manifestations that I actually felt like I could enter the group.
I see. Okay. No,
like I was connected to it, but I wasn't in a weird way that I hadn't been before.
Yeah, it just means that you went into the lighter, or you know, the weaker echoes, because at this stage, like, your presence knew that it wasn't strong enough to right now to take on or tackle, you know, another presence due to what you'd already been feeling. So you, on the healing the collective ones, you chose to go out to a lighter stage where you would actually be more observational. In other words, you would get more detailed sensational feedback of how what we were connecting to was feeling, but you would be less connected in the core of it.
Yes, and if I may offer something to combat those feelings when you're feeling sad or depressed or anxious or fear, anything that is of a negative nature, just say to yourself in your head, look, it took me 20-something years to learn how to love myself. I don't have that kind of time to spend on convincing anyone else. So love yourself.
So some more comments from the chat room. Deborah says, yes, Lisa, I was feeling and observing the responses too.
I'm muted. I'm more talking away. Yeah, and then also during the CERN part, I saw Shiva come alive, come down off the statue and walk away. Cool. CERN was intense, confused, panicky, and resistant. I found the financials much easier than other times. In fact, resigned. Involuntary tears flowed down my cheeks. Not mine, not my own. Yeah, it's really hard to, I don't know, disconnect from this feeling and not take it on as your own because your whole body's reacting. It's all in here. Okay, so Mark, you're still there in the background?
Yeah, I'm just totally enjoying this. I just feel this really deep sense of peace and calm that it's like anything that looks like it might be a problem has these underlying currents of sorting out and transmuting. Doesn't to me it feels really like it's working out really, really well, and it doesn't feel problematic except on the surface. And when you feel below the surface, it's just transmuting and some stuff's burning off, and then we're ending up in a place. I feel us ending up in a place where we're able to start cleaning up the planet on a bigger scale and really supporting one another rather than working in a competitive environment of trying to overcome others. That we're just naturally all feeling this enjoyment from supporting one another in different ways, from very, very small to very big. And I feel it. I don't think it's just from a point of being naive. I think it's actually from just a choice point of what I prefer in my reality, and that I'm looking around and seeing that others prefer it too, and that it's coming together. That's how it feels. Others might choose something different because they want to continue with a struggle and a drama sort of position, but there are enough who want to have a kind of a fun, sort of experience, let's see how far we can take this kind of a feeling. Rather, it's almost like if you're playing Monopoly. Often I've thought how boring Monopoly is as a game to play. It just goes in this circular, predictable fashion where one or two people dominate the board, and then it just becomes really, really boring. But I've always thought, how much more fun we can have just changing the game up. I was playing checkers. I have a checkers board, which I haven't really enjoyed playing for a long time. But when my son wanted to play, we just started playing with the pieces and doing different games and stacking them and doing all kinds of games, because he has no idea that it has to be a certain way. And we had a lot of fun, and we were working together creating things. And it was all exactly the same board, same pieces, but it didn't have any kind of boundaries except for what we chose. And I feel it's like that. We can actually do that with this whole thing. And I'm really living with this idea that Michael is teaching really nicely. And I totally resonate with that. We create this forwards and backwards in time from every moment. So forwards and backwards in time, we're just looking at a snapshot kind of where we're at right now in this now, with this grouping of individuals who are together. I love it. I'm loving it so much, and I feel nothing but really just deep peace and happiness and excitement about it.
Thanks, Mark. That's definitely mutual.
And Deborah's also said, I also found the media came into the hug easier than at other times. However, the hug felt like a stalemate and took a while to still. The resistance did still. It never relaxed, though. It was the financial, I think, that you said a few weeks back that almost came willingly. Was it the financial?
Yeah.
Wasn't the media, was it? Mm.
Yeah. A piece of it, it's like things that are variant from the group energy are going to be out here. And so when I go out and open up, usually I'm like pulling in from 360 degrees with you guys, and I can feel like you really got a tug to get it in. Well, there was like a huge chunk, like it almost felt like a meteor, right? like that just went whoop and just hopped right into our cold energy, just like said, yeah, I'm in, yeah.
Nice. Okay, Mark.
Yeah.
Well, you implied that you feel like what we're doing is having an effect on the financial, but I was wondering whether you could be a little bit. And you said that there's talk of technologies coming out, but is there anything more specific in terms of, I don't know, whether it's dragons or RVs or any of those things?
Yeah, it looks like, a few different things that have been sort of brewing for what we would see to be as years are quite possibly actually coming together now. Namely the historical bond redemptions, the prosperity packages, Nasara, Suicindo even, which is fascinating, and then more reality coming, or more of a possible positive relating to Russia and even China, the powers of the dragons of not the. I don't see it as the Chinese government so much as the real movers above the governments of the world, that they're working in a concerted effort to support a move away from funding top down to funding individuals with their own desires of what they want to do, and that will flow up and out. So I get this strong feeling of the of people, instead of complaining about that we all start looking at, well, what am I going to do? What do I want to do right now? Because really, it's up to each individual making choices. And it's not so easy when you take the responsibility yourself to make choices. If you're looking at your ability to create in your intention, like we're doing now, and then also in your day-to-day activities, it actually requires us to work in a different way, I feel. And I feel that shift is happening, and that we're living with that shift in consciousness, and that we'll start taking more personal responsibility for what we want to do and what we want to see happen, how we want to work with resources. If the RV does come through, which is quite looks like is actually happening from private contacts that I have, they're saying it actually is happening, going through, that the bond redemptions are happening, accounts are being brought out in a certain way. Different major players are coming to terms with working in a different way together, and they're still fighting one another in certain levels. But I feel like we're transmuting that and cleaning it out from within outwards. I feel like we're really doing that.
Mark, the part about all of this that's bothered me the most is the hope harvesting that's gone on for so many years, and the lives that I've seen get put on hold when the RV comes through, when this happens, when that happens. That's when I'll be.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Now, that's a really good point. That they're really. Meanwhile, though, there are people actually doing stuff, even though That's what you see in like Dinar Land and on the internet. And we can do it in ourselves. We can kind of get stuck in chat rooms, getting really excited about different bits of intel that come through. But what I'm talking about is from the perspective of talking with people who are out in small groups, very privately working on things. There are some technologies that are coming out right now that'll really totally shift how we work with energy, where we won't need power lines. After, I think not very long, we'll be able to have energy devices that we'll be able to have running in our homes, where we use as much energy as we need, and the rest just runs into the earth, that just earths out and just circulates. That we use just like tapping a little bit of water out of a stream that's running through. That we won't have so much of a focus on needing to cover energy. And then I think technology or communications wise, I see us having some communications devices that'll allow us to communicate encrypted, point to point instantly, outside of the grid. I have a strange feeling. I don't know if it's true or what, but I have this sneaking feeling that even the NSA, who has been seen to be such a negative, was actually going to turn out in this world that I'm seeing coming into a kind of a crystallized order of mutually supporting and cooperating forces, that it will actually turn out to be having some core people who have a hunger for supporting one another, and that'll shift into something that is positive. I think it might take some time, but with transmutation, things can shift in quantum leaps. Not, it doesn't go logically; it goes logarithmically. It's just jumps.
The thing that would take time is for people to trust that.
I don't think that it's going to matter is what it feels like. It's like we're just going to leapfrog things is what it feels like.
Can I add to what you're saying?
Yeah, please.
I'll just say this. In January, there's things that started coming through me, and I got it validated through Tolik. And listening to some of his interviews, I haven't spoken to him personally about this yet, but listening to his interviews, he validated information that came through me. Back in January of this year, it was explained to the powers that were that whatever they're trying to do to us will happen to them. So their success or their failure depends on what they do to us. So if they want to succeed with where they want to go, they have to make sure that we succeed as well. And it's just that simple. And that's why you're seeing all this technology come out.
Yeah, they have to help us to help themselves.
Yes. If they want to succeed in where they want to go, they have to help us succeed in where we want to go. And it's just that simple. It's not a big equation or any way you can get around it. It's right in your face. It's not going anywhere. You're going to have to make sure they succeed if you want to succeed. Really simple. So that's why I'm not in the least bit worried about CERN. Anything that's going on over there. When I listened to Tolik do an interview last month with a couple of college professors, one from Harvard or Yale or something like that, they were talking about the movie Interstellar. And one of the professors that came back on a mission away from the planet, after a year and a half, he came back and found his 7-year-old daughter was 32 years old. And one of the things they discovered is that gravity is what drives the time construct. That being the case, we're looking at a hadron collider that can produce 100,000 times the gravimetric force of this planet. So my only question is, how far back in time were they planning on going when they fired this thing up? That's a long ways back in time, but It wouldn't be happening unless everyone was in agreement. I can assure you that thing would not work at all.
Well, it doesn't seem to be.
Well, they're running tests right now, and they compressed or collapsed a diode, and they got that repaired. They burned out whatever was stopping that up, so they're running tests again, and it's working. And I've looked at it and I've asked questions about that, and I've had this validated as well. Think of the Hadron Collider as a giant rocket engine, and this entire planet is a starship. When they fire it off, we're going to go flying. Won't even realize it. Okay, I'm going to shut up.
I don't want to.
I'm a little too crazy. I'm starting to sound a little too crazy for myself. Your turn. Somebody else's turn.
I can't top that for crazy. Even me.
Oh well. Hey, guess what? I can validate my craziness. Just put in Mary Ridewell in YouTube and listen to the latest interviews and listen to the kids when they're saying the same thing that I'm saying right now in much more detail than I'm saying right now. Woo!
Yeah, I did. Oh wow, that's going back a while. 2012,
oh, no, she's done
probably.
one recently.
When I spoke to Mary though, and talked about what the kids were saying. So yeah, I'll have to go and.
I just watched a video with her the other day that she put on YouTube about 5 days ago, and now she's got a fourth kid that's talking about this, and she's here in Texas. I'm going, go figure. Same state I'm in. Whoo. Okay. Where's the Twilight Zone music?
It's the theme song to our lives. Twilight. Okay. We've got 15 minutes left officially. So if you wanted to call in, the number is, what's our numbers? Call in numbers. US number 415-762-9988. The ID or the number you'll be asked for is 742-504-9603. Now, just so you know, in case you don't know that, if you're watching live on lisamharrison.com and you want to be in the chat room, there's a couple of ways you can do it. But I think it's that one. Yes. At the top right-hand corner of the chat room, there's a little square, 2 squares. And if you click on that, it'll pop the chat room out separately so that you can have that up next to the stream. So you're not going up and down on this page and you can't have both of them on at the same time. You can actually pop the chat room out in case you didn't know that and have them sit side by side. And that's our call-in numbers. So if you want to do that before the show ends. Was there anything that I missed in the chat room, Michael, that you feel should be shared?
No.
No, just a bit of feedback on what was going on.
Yeah. Well, let me go back there.
Mark, did you want to say something else? Was that you?
I was gonna just a help some people who have Zoom, Zoom.us. If you get the software installed, you can join with that call ID. Is actually the Zoom room. I didn't realize that till today, but it was if you just call in, the Zoom room is 742-504-9603, and then you end up with a lot clearer connection.
Zoom is brilliant. Love it. That's what allows us to do what we do in a much better way.
So clear.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I think our show, Lisa, is scheduled for an hour and a half, isn't it? I think you're thinking of I just checked the calendar, because I'm used to.
Well, because we haven't been doing the 2 hours, but we actually have 2-hour time slot.
Oh, okay. I see.
We just haven't been using it all. No, 2 hours is good, says Biggie. That probably takes us right up to the next show. This was something I was going to bring up in connection to CERN, but in the end decided to leave it alone for this week. But the moon has become, I don't know, come into my consciousness again as something that needs to be re-looked at. And I have a feeling it's connected to CERN. I have no idea in what way, but that there is a relationship between the two. Maybe next week we could, or during the week, if you wouldn't mind, Michael, having a look to see if there is a relationship between the two, if you can. Just feel into that and maybe add that to what we do next week. Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that, Lisa. Okay, from the chat room. Yeah, there's, for some reason, I think of one, I think of the other. It's like there's a connection, and I don't know what it is yet, but haven't given the moon much thought of late. And along with all this other stuff, it's just come swinging back in. So, to me, that means something.
All right.
Does anybody in the chat room get that when they tune into all this? There may be a connection. Nothing.
The only thing that comes to mind for me is that they get ready to tow it away.
Say that again? Tow it away?
Yes. Those huge ships that are parked behind it have been there since October of 2013. Getting ready to tow it away?
Yeah. I think there's another cause for the things that are on this planet that are associated with the moon, like tides and everything else. I think there's a different cause for those.
Yeah.
And I think it comes from the planet itself.
If Floyd Pye were here, he'd be working on his second best-selling book. The first one was Everything You Know Is Wrong, and the new one would be titled Everything You Know Has Changed.
Everything you, is that the same one? It was, I had one. Everything you know is, there's two
That
books
changed.
already. Like there's already two books like that. Everything You Know Is Wrong. I can't remember. I had one of them. Sounds interesting. If they tow it away, won't we have tides? Yikes. Yeah, well, that's what I don't think, Maggie. I think that tides and everything are caused by something else. And we're told it's connected to the moon.
Well, when I say everything's going to change, I mean it's going to change. This planet is not going to be in this solar system or in this galaxy anymore. One of the things they've shown me, and the kids that Mary Rodwell interviewed recently, some of them have verified this, that basically this planet is going to be a moon. The planet that we're going to orbit around is about 5 times the size of Jupiter. And Jupiter is 13 times the size of this planet, so do the math. Then, of course, we're going to have our own moon at the same time, and none of this stuff will be here anymore. It'll just all be a bad memory.
You know, you're reminding me, though, there was a period at the end of 2013, well, towards the end of the Opal Tour, so probably December, when this whole feeling and idea that we were actually traveling back then, that we were traveling to a different part of the galaxy or something, was happening back then.
Yes.
We were going through some kind of wormhole or something. I don't know. We were shifting. We were moving house. That went on for a few weeks. And there was confirmation coming from all over that that's what was going on at that time.
We were just having a problem dislodging the wheel of karma, and that's about to be resolved. We're going to get rid of that thing and send it flying like a frisbee to wherever it wants to go.
The moon, you mean?
Well, the moon's part of that. It's part of the wheel of karma. That's why it goes up and down, and especially right now, you can tell the wheel of karma is going crazy because the moon will be, when it goes to half full, it's it's half bottom and top instead of a side to side like it usually is, and it's all sorts of crazy positions in the sky. So that wheel is out of control, and it's just about dislodged. And when they get it dislodged, that'll happen when they fire the Hadron Collider. They'll dislodge us from the wheel, and we'll take off flying and leave the moon wheel of karma here for whoever wants to play. And wish them luck too.
Okay. Again, I can't top that. So,
okay.
I'm gonna say our goodbyes. This has been a fun one, but an intense one and a different one for me. And I am starting to calm down. That feeling is starting to ease. So that's good. But I did see a comment in the chat room about the group hug and the support for our own personal manifestations felt really, really powerful. And I agree with that. It did. It was the one thing that was the point in it where I could really come in, and I really felt it. So thank you. Beautiful, beautiful, loving support in there. So between now and next week, if anybody feels up to it, have a look into the moon. Feel what you think is going on there. Can we hug our ignorance? Ignorance of what, though? Or just general?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Hug it. Love it. We love you too, Maggie.
Yeah, thanks. Much love to all of you guys. I appreciate doing this, and when we did that last group, I was genuinely impressed. Like I do this stuff on my website where I teach energy. We merge as group consciousness, so I do it a lot, and I know what it feels like to be feeling a lot of love and to be tapped into a lot of power at the same time. And when we merged as a group, I was genuinely impressed, as I expressed. So appreciations to everybody for being a part of this and for being a part of the group soul energy. We add to each other in that way, and we'll be back next week. And in the meantime, I'd invite you guys, if you're interested in having a good place to study energy, to check out my website, avatarenergymaster.com. We got an online school there. Thanks again, everybody. It was great to be here.
Yes, it was. And thank you, Mark and Thomas, for calling in and being a part of it. Thanks to everybody in the chat room for all your wonderful feedback and comments. See you guys next week. The One People archive will be up tomorrow, I believe, according to Biggie. And please join in and tune into that one, because it was a wild show. I had a lot of fun. So thanks again, and we'll see you all next week. Bye for now.